As seen on today's episode of The Young and the Restless, Sally confides in Nick, Lauren confronts Phyllis, and Victoria extends an alluring invitation to Nate, all while having her own worries and issues to discuss. As soon as Kyle arrives at the Abbott residence, he gasps, "You're engaged." "Whoa," as Summer exclaims. They interrogate Jack and Diane relentlessly. When Jack did it, he says he immediately knew it was the right decision. The timing is off, and Kyle notices it. If Jeremy Stark were a real threat, would he have prompted this marriage proposal? Outside of society, Phyllis informs Jeremy by phone that retrieving Diane's belongings will take some time. Until they figure things out, she wants him to stay away from her loved ones. She snaps, "Mr. Stark," after he says something on the other end. "You have no right to threaten anyone. Do not come after my loved ones, I beg you." When Lauren walks in, Phyllis releases him and fakes a grin to avoid embarrassment. When Nick enters the Grand Phoenix, he sees his sister waiting in the foyer. Victoria claims that she is productively using her wine break time to get some work done. "How is Sally?" she inquires. Nick acknowledges that emotionally it's a challenge. Victoria shakes her head and says Adam is to blame for everything. Nick gives Adam the benefit of the doubt and adds that he isn't actively trying to manipulate Sally just yet, but that he is prepared for anything. Sally snoozes in her suite and has a dream about Summer and Adam convincing her that she and Adam are destined for each other. She fantasizes of a traditional love story in which Adam brings her roses and makes romantic promises. The first time he offered her flowers at Newman Media is a source of amusement for both of them. In her dream, Sally hears Adam boast that he is the only person who truly understands her. In dreaming, she smiles. Victoria compliments Nick on his positive outlook on life in the foyer. "You have a big, generous soul." Nick makes fun of her lack of a heart. Victoria disagrees and feels it's useful when dealing with people like Adam. It's Adam's responsibility that she thinks should be a red flag to him. Nick is convinced that she hopes Sally will return to her relationship with Adam. Victoria concedes that the two of them make a more natural relationship. Nick doesn't agree, but he can see why she would. Victoria wants to know if she should be worried about what's happening. Lauren makes a remark about Phyllis's intense phone call in society. She says she was on the phone with her manicurist and that she will call back to make amends. Lauren responds with, "What's going on?" Since she needs to know all about the upcoming gala. She saw her while she was crumbling, and now she's a pulsating source of optimism. When compared to what changed in that time? Jack concedes at the Abbott estate that the threat posed by Jeremy Stark may have helped him gain perspective. When he considered the future, he decided he no longer wanted to dwell on the past. Diane knows that she must always work to earn people's trust. Summer's expression changes. As Jack learned that Diane was also making an effort to safeguard Kyle and Harrison, he fell in love with her all over again. Again, Summer scowls. According to Jack, Diane has already shown herself and has nothing more to prove to him. He's never been this pleased in a long time, and he wants to spend it with her. Their commitment to one another is unbreakable, despite the many years that have passed since they first fell in love. Diane muses that they've grown into distinct individuals and that they're better together than apart, but Summer throws her some doubtful looks. Casting: Lucas Adams at the 2022 Daytime Emmys. Jack continues by saying that Diane has become a vital member of the family. To proceed in this way is logical. Nevertheless, as Kyle points out, not everyone will agree with him. Jack maintains that people must resist external pressure to make decisions for them. Kyle says he and his family just want the best for them, but he still doesn't understand why they feel compelled to tie the knot right now. Diane guarantees they won't force anything, but she still wants their approval, eventually. As Jack and Diane rush out the door, Kyle and Summer decide to keep the news to themselves. Summer stares in shock, then asks Kyle, "What the heck was that?" Nick tells Victoria in the hotel lobby that he's not jealous of Adam, but is worried that he may cause unnecessary stress for Sally and the baby. He then shifts gears and explains that Adam confirmed their father's plan to place him in command at McCall. "It's not going to happen," Victoria laughs. In Nick's opinion, she should just keep out of it. Because Adam will be in charge of McCall, he will be out of their way. And he points out to her that Newman doesn't have to rely on McCall, Rather than let Victor win back Adam as a family member, Victoria will seize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. They are both aware of the inevitable doom that awaits them. Nick laughs at her for worrying over Adam. For the time being, Victoria is unwilling to engage in combat. If they really want to argue, Nick recommends they set a new date for it. Nate walks in out of the blue. Victoria smiles seductively at him as she meets him. Nate reveals to Victoria that he wanted to keep plotting the McCall deal even after Elena crashed early. Nicholas leaves the conversation to go to his room. As the elevator doors close, he spins around to stare at Victoria and Nate in unison. Sally hasn't woken up from her dream about Adam telling her they're meant to be and recalling how wonderful things were while they were together in Sally's suite yet. He believes that their bond will last a lifetime, and that is what this new baby will represent. In the dream, Sally is being massaged by Adam when Nick comes knocking and calls out to her. She pushes open the door, pulls him inside, and says, "Come in here." Then she begins to remove his clothes and kiss him passionately. Lauren hopes that her friend Phyllis has changed for the better, but she thinks that she could benefit from some time off from the society crowd. She suggests a weekend getaway to Sin City for all the ladies. Phyllis is currently unable to take a vacation. Incredulous, Lauren exclaims, "Really?" She tells her friend that she is unemployed and at odds with her children. "Why don't you just go already?" Phyllis has certain commitments at the time and cannot leave town. "You know you can't just leave your issues behind, right?" Lauren's attitude shifts and she gestures toward the entrance, through which a radiant Diane and Jack are entering. Jack introduces himself to Phyllis and Lauren, and she immediately compliments their appearance and notes that she herself is making an effort to look well for him. Diane makes a snide comment about how she is constantly tally-ho. According to Phyllis, she lost the game, and it brought her nothing but heartache. She expresses her desire for their circumstances to Lauren. Phyllis then comments on their present circumstance, expressing surprise at their return to the area. Both Sally and Nick strip down to their underwear before falling into bed together in Sally's bedroom. It's an intensely romantic comedy. Victoria discusses Tucker's recent erratic behavior with Nate in the lobby. She can't put her finger on it, but something's off. Maybe he's softening up. Maybe he wants to mend fences with Devon after all. They talk about how he feels about Ashley, the one who paid off his debt. Ashley is concerned that they are conflating business with pleasure. Though uncertain, she thinks Ashley made the right call by purchasing the loan. Nate assumes she was seeking authority. Victoria agrees that it is an extremely effective spur to action. Nate is suspicious that Ashley used her influence to convince Tucker to sell to Devon. That doesn't make sense to Victoria. She thinks the explanation is more straightforward. They're two successful people who genuinely care for one another. She's testing him, Nate muses. Just a game, man. Absolutely, purrs Victoria. Simply put, it's a game. One that the vast majority of men would love. In an instant, they see that they have been discussing not Tucker and Ashley but themselves. Victoria finally confronts Nate with the question, "What is going on between us?" After realizing they can't continue to avoid the issue, Summer, upon visiting the Abbott residence, says that Jack and Diane's engagement is completely insane. She is undecided about whether or not she should tell Kyle her current thoughts. "Please do," as Kyle requests. Summer says she's beginning to wonder if this was Diane's intention all along. Kyle thinks that's a terrifying prospect. Summer tells him that she was the one who enticed Jack to Los Angeles with cryptic texts, and that nothing about her has been as it seems. That he and Jack are covering something up is her biggest concern. Kyle is angry because he is afraid she will never be able to trust his mother and give her a fair shot. Summer probes to find out whether he's being serious. Things are progressing at an alarming rate. Kyle tells Summer he has a deep concern for his father because he knows his father has given his all to this. It's as if Jeremy Stark's father is choosing to live in denial and inviting further misery upon himself, even if his son didn't exist. Nick, when at Sally's apartment, wonders whether there is more to Sally's sudden interest in him. Like maybe you were hoping to forget about reality for a while through sexual activity. "Do I need to be aware of something?" Sally affirms to him, "You're right. There's a catch. It's Summer," she explains. When Sally saw her recently, she seemed extremely subdued, and Sally says she'd made a complete 180. She really was looking for a way to make peace, he said. Nick is blind to the issue. Sally says it was only a fluke that she brought up Adam and insisted they were destined to be together. Nick, though, disagrees and wonders if Sally is still torn. They return to town, and Jack asks Phyllis at society why she seems so shocked to see them again. Phyllis avoids answering by saying that she was told they would be leaving town but have now returned. Her best guess is that Summer and Kyle mentioned that Jeremy Stark had traveled to Paris to track them down. Jack, Diane, and Lauren are all intrigued as to how she acquired that information. "It was me," Phyllis says with a chuckle. Victoria tells Nate she's going to check into a room on the upper floor and would love for him to come along while they chat in the hotel lobby. She won't take it personally and it won't affect their working relationship if he decides not to. It's your choice either way. It ends with her standing up and leaving. Sally informs Nick in her suite that she didn't buy into Summer's pretenses. Nick claims that while his daughter may be trying to con Sally, all he wants is for her to live in a sphere of tranquility and harmony. Sally tells him that there is no insulated sphere of tranquility there. Nick puts on a show of shock. To put it simply, he is curious about her feelings toward Adam. Sally has been having nightmares about what the future holds, and it's giving her concern. She worries, but Nick reassures her that they will prevail. Sally is worried that she won't be able to withstand the attack that will coming from his family. Meanwhile, at the Abbott residence, Kyle wonders why Jack is keeping their engagement secret if he thinks it's so perfect. Summer speculates that folks will have thoughts. She shudders to think of her mother's reaction. Phyllis admits to Lauren, Jack, and Diane in society that she is ashamed to have been approached by Jeremy Stark, who requested her to help him with his plan to seduce Diane. Even Jack's fiancée doesn't find that hard to believe. According to Phyllis, she informed him she didn't want to be involved. Diane is quite doubtful. His fearsome reputation comes from Phyllis. Diane now wishes she would have considered that before dialing his number. Phyllis is doing everything she can to fix things. When Phyllis says that she told Kyle and Summer that Jeremy was headed to Europe, Lauren narrows her eyes suspiciously. She tells Jack and Diane to have fun during dinner. Without much thought, they make their way back to the table. "That was quite the act," Lauren mutters to Phyllis. In other words, "What the heck are you doing?" Phyllis maintains that she wants nothing more than for Jack and Diane to be happy. She watches them from a distance as Jack kisses Diane's hand.